Welcome back to M201, Preparing the Theater. This part 2 of our lesson overview. The military planning and execution process involves 4 key activities: situational awareness, planning, execution, and assessment. These activities support decision-making at all levels of leadership. The deployment and redeployment process includes planning, pre-deployment activities, movement, and JRSO and I. JRSO and I ensures the joint deployment and redeployment process is effective. Setting the theater within combat and command campaign plans involves understanding plan relationships and integrating various plans like contingency plans and logistics plans. Setting the theater involves diplomatic engagement, infrastructure identification, and force protection. When does setting the theater begin and when does setting the JOA begin? Setting the JOA includes tailoring the JFC, establishing a distribution system, and ensuring intelligence support. Sustainment operations are crucial for competition and crisis response. They ensure favorable conditions for rapid execution of a specific O plan during large-scale combat operations. The Army's newly published FM40 Sustainment Operations emphasizes that sustainment operations are continuous and conducted as part of competition for contingency or crisis response operations. This approach aligns directly with the Army's MDO 2028 operations model, as seen in the diagram. The Army Service Component Command, or ASCC, conducts theater sustainment analysis to set the theater. This involves identifying risks, mitigating these risks, and optimizing sustainment operations. What warfighting functions are involved in setting the theater? The correct answer is all warfighting functions are involved in setting the theater. The information on the right of the slide contains some basic planning tasks from warfighting functions for setting the theater. Setting the theater is a continuous activity involving shaping the operational environment, crisis response, and competition. It requires significant and sustained effort, including intelligence and information collection. Terminology is important, and one should recognize the difference between seemingly like terms in joint operations that are casually used in informal conversations. In current operations, whether in the Indo-PACOM or EUCOM region, the Army is participating in the joint operational area. The theater of war is significantly different from a JOA. A theater of war is a geographic area established by the President of the United States or Secretary of Defense, or combatant commander for campaigns and contingency operations involving combat. JRSO and I is a critical process in military operations. Its goal is to avoid burdening strategic lift, infrastructure, and the commander with more support than is necessary. Yet deploy assets necessary to optimize throughput of units and materiel, ensuring the smooth transition of forces from deployment to operational readiness. When visualizing the JRSO and I process, take note of the phases and segments of the deployment process, highlighting the importance of synchronization and balance. This image depicts various ports of entry into a theater to receive and reassemble units at their assigned tactical assembly area in the joint operations area. RSO and I involves 4 segments: reception, staging, onward movement, and integration. These segments ensure forces meet the GCC's operational requirements. RSO and I is a theater Army responsibility, involving the establishment of communication nodes, physical transportation capabilities, and security coordination. Reception is usually the shortest and simplest segment of RSO and I. This is where responsibility transitions from TRANSCOM to the supported combatant commander. Staging generally includes assembling, temporary holding, and organizing of arriving personnel, equipment, and other materiel into units and forces, and preparing them for onward movement and employment. Onward movement and integration are critical for transferring units to operational command and ensuring they are ready for missions. Army pre-positioned stocks provide rapid issuance of materiel to support contingency operations. The ASCC is responsible for managing these stocks. The hub-and-spoke model in theater distribution simplifies the network of routes and nodes, making transportation more efficient. The theater distribution plan outlines how sustainment flows from the theater base to the tactical level, detailing the who, what, when, where, and how of distribution. Sustainment in the maritime domain involves significant planning and coordination, addressing challenges in sea, estuaries, islands, and airspace. Endurance is stress-tested with the requirement to deliver sustainment through land, maritime, and air venues. An issue arises when one considers the limited number of logistics support vessels and LCU-2000s for maintaining endurance in the theater. Within the Indo-PACOM environment, progress may be slow and difficult to retain due to the distances from ship to shore to replenish supplies, spare parts, and conduct reconstitution activities of personnel. Theater sustainment operations are crucial for executing joint logistics over the shore missions. These operations include inter-theater transportation, maintenance operations, and providing health service support. Army watercraft are highly versatile but sensitive to sea state and weather conditions. Operational challenges include landing sites, staging areas, traffic flow, beach gradient and width, surf, tides, and sandbars. J-LOTS operations are highly adaptable and must be tailored to the specific operational environment. Customization is key to meeting mission needs, and resources must be prioritized based on mission requirements. The Offshore Petroleum Discharge System, OPDS, is an example of the specialized equipment used in these operations. Requirements for setting the operational area and RSO&I are captured in Annex D of O plans and CON plans. The Theater Army helps develop these plans and associated annexes for the Joint Force Commander. Setting the theater is a continuous shaping activity that involves all warfighting functions. It encompasses a broad range of actions and requires the involvement of the entire government, including agencies like the Department of Defense and the Department of State, as well as multinational and host nation partners. This has been part 2 of M201, Preparing the Theater. Thank you for your attention.